how we're doing on the audio balance here. I'm gonna bring our scene live. Sorry. Okay, hello everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Oh, I forgot about the alerts there. If I had removed the sound alert mod, why is it still going off? Oh well. Anyway, case, how's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well today. We're here today with some more Magic and going to be jumping in some Standard. Thanks to doing all the drafts that we did, we ended up getting ourselves some new cards, and we've developed some new decks. Now, one of the decks I'm going to be playing to start off the night is actually a deck that we actually have run on the stream previously, but I made some adjustments to it and wanted to really try to get some footage of the deck. So that we can try to maybe turn it into a video for YouTube. The deck idea is the Domain Burn one, which was our Grixis burn deck. The other deck idea we're going to be going with is what I call RatadraBox, because it's a... Oh, I accidentally put just black-white on the stream there, but it's white-black-red. There we go. Got that updated. And it is a legendary focus deck around RatadraBox. And I'm going to save this one towards the later in the stream, just to make sure that when Izzy gets on, they're able to see it, because they wanted to see this card used, and I want to make sure that they're present when it gets played. If they're not able to make it to the stream later, unfortunate for them, but we'll turn this into a interesting deck idea here. But in which case, we'll jump into our decks and games with Domain Burn. Okay, so deck number one that we're planning on playing here is all about trying to take advantage of Marriott Outrider. Now, this seems like a weird card to build around, and kinda is, but the main advantage of this card is when this enters the battlefield, deal damage to our opponent equal to the number of basic land types among land types we control. And thanks to the Triome lands, basically the three-colored lands, it's really not that hard to acquire all the different land types. Now, we are built to be black, red, blue, but that means that we can have the Proving Grounds to give us the green source and Rafine's Tower to give us the white source. Otherwise, we're fine with the possibility of this, you know, more consistently doing about 4 damage when it enters the battlefield, not necessarily the full 5. But it's a 5-drop 4/4 with reach. So even as we play this to the board, it's not the most optimal stats when you compare it to other cards, but our goal is, again, we are going to burn our opponent out of this game. So to help us with that idea, besides the Outrider here, we have some invoked spares, make our opponent sacrifice creature, enchantment, planeswalker, each one they can't. We get to make them lose life, we draw cards. We have the Maestro's Charm in the deck. Now, we have this as a possible way to just make our opponent lose 3 life and gain 3 life, but it's great for us because it also allows us to deal 5 damage to any creature or planeswalker, so it's great spot removal. And if we need to, it does serve purpose of Desperation Draw, where we can look at top 5 cards, find one of them among them, and add it to our hand. We have the Meathook Massacre to apply a little bit of life loss to our opponent whenever one of our creatures dies. We have Lightning Strike for an extra 3 damage to go to face. So that's all of our burn package. Now, to help support the idea, we actually do have a little, I guess, further burn in the form of Okiba Raid Reckoner, because the first 2 triggers of this saga makes our opponent lose life, we gain life, and then it turns into a 2/2 menace creature. We have Tenacious Underdog. Everyone knows this card, it's everywhere. The 3/2 body for 2 mana is great. The fact that we can blitz it to give ourselves extra damage that can go to face, or just great for the card draw advantage. Running just a couple Blood type Harvesters to give us a little early board presence. The Blood tokens also help out because of the artifact nature, being a great help with soul transfer because we actually run a fair bit of enchantments. Some Fable and the Mirror Breakers because it's just a great ability to loot, give us the potential treasures to mana fix us since we are 3 colors. And we have the Kiki-Jiki combo with Blood Type Harvester, Corpse Appraiser, but also with the Marius Outrider because creating copies of this just straight domes our opponent just for the ETB, and then we also have the 4/4 body, so lots of value to be had there. We do have the new Sweeper dragged to the bottom in the deck because the Domain effect makes this effectively a Languish with 3 different land colors, and every color after that we have on the board, it becomes larger, so we can get this up to a -6/-6 with our deck, effectively killing almost all creatures that are in the format. Very few survive this. But then again, for those very few, that's why we have the purpose of the soul transfers, because we can exile a creature. Then if we happen to have an artifact enchantment, we can bring back any creature or planeswalker from our graveyard back to our hand. Well, that basically covers all of the deck. Oh, I forgot to go over the fact that we have a little graveyard hate with the Corpse Appraiser. And we also do use Flame Blast Bolt because of the early 2 damage exile a creature if it would die, or planeswalker, to help hate on the fact that so many underdogs are running around the place. Well, let's jump into games and see how well we do with it. As I did mention, we did a little bit of this deck before, and I'd like to see how well this still works. After all, we are now in the Diamond rank. I know I play a lot of crazy decks, and the fact that we climb the ladder with them is all sorts of fun. Alright, from the start... Oh, I forgot to change these out for different lands, because typically just one of these already covers these lands. I originally had them in there just because they count as the land types, but I need to switch these out. We'll do that after this game. Alright, we'll keep the hand. It's a little greedy because we only have the 2 mana sources, but it does mean that we can play Blood Type and Underdog. So we should hopefully draw a 3rd color, and it won't matter which color type it is because of the lands we started with. It's a nice looking art. The new Dominaria lands. I've got a hopeful initiate for our opponent. Unfortunately, we do miss a land drop here. I was really hoping for one of our few just untapped land sources, so we would get down to 2-drop. Valley is a bit annoying because of the tax nature it does to us. Well, let's go ahead and run out the Harvester. Be a little sad that we missed our land drop here. So probably 3-drop comes down. It's going to be the Brutal Cathar. Yep, that's what I was thinking. Gets rid of the Harvester. Unfortunately, unless we draw lands, we're not going to get anywhere in this match. We do hit a land. Go for the Underdog. Pass it back to the opponent. Oh no, Peacekeeper is going to tax our hand. So, if you're not familiar with the Peacekeeper, it's basically the that 3/1 flyer that exiles a card from our hand and taxes it by 2, but it's actually slightly better and slightly worse. Because Peacekeeper, as long as it's on the board, makes it that way all cards of the chosen name will cost 2 more, and all activated abilities of said card will cost 2 extra. So if you were to, like, name a Planeswalker, it'll not only cost you an extra 2 to put it to the board, but also cost you an extra 2 just to activate it. Alright. We'll offer the block here. Thanks to the trade, we can use Corpse Appraiser, exile their creature, try to find a land. Wow. Well, we'll take this. That's some bad luck. Well, thanks to the Flame Blast Bolt, we can use that to kill Brutal Cathar. So that way we can get back the Blood Tithe. Yes, I'll take that block, so that way we can potentially use Drag the Bottom against you. Alright, let's kill the Cathar. Going to activate, discard a Mirror Breaker. Ooh, this is some real bad luck on our end, not getting any of the lands. How many cards are we in? We are 16 cards in, only 3 lands. We are a 24 land deck. Alright, opponent plays another Peacekeeper. I'm gonna name Fable this time. That's interesting. Let's see, when they attack all, we have to block the token. Because we're relying on drawing an untapped land source at this point. Killing the Thalia with the Harvester effect. But sadly, that's a GG's. We won't draw lands. Oh man, that's pretty bad. Alright. Well, let me actually make a quick adjustment to the deck, because as I mentioned, I forgot to shift some lands. Because while I was first making the deck, I was using a lot of these guaranteed must-be tap lands. But they don't feel necessary in the deck. Because it's better for us to have some Shipwreck Marshes and Haunted Ridges here instead. Now, they don't have the land types for the purpose of Domain, but the odds of us not drawing one of these Triomes or, you know, not having the other basics for the purpose of Domain is very low with only 5 of these in the deck. Okay. We should actually be able to get a much better draw than our last one now. Because only getting a total of 3 lands is just really bad luck. Alright, this seems like a really good hand here. We'll keep this. Got all of our land types that we need. Corpse Appraiser, Hate on Graveyard, as well as Flame Blast Bolt. Now, Corpse Appraiser is not going to be super great at hating on the graveyard since we have, you know, just exile spells primarily. Maestro's Charm does allow us to self-mill. We'll just pass it back to the opponent, see what they do. Alright, let's go ahead and go for the Charm. Look at the top 5. Add Mirror Breaker to hand. Go for said Mirror Breaker. And it'll be the opponent's turn. Alright, opponent gets a Sorin. They probably do the minus. We can Flame Bless, get rid of the Sorin. But I think what we'll do is we'll take the draw first, because I don't mind the idea of maybe just discarding. Now we'll discard this. And we can discard this, actually, because we can use Soul Transfer, get rid of that, attack in, kill Sorin. Okay, I like this. Now, we do run into an issue where we don't actually kill the Sorin here, so if the opponent plays like a Return of Gix, or the Cruelty of Gix, I mean, they can return that from the graveyard back to the board. Alright, Trespasser for our opponent. There goes the underdog. We're going to hit him with an Invoke. Feel the despair, opponent. We'll get in the attack here. And I'll actually just go for a Raid Reckoner. Now, it's a big if, but if Kiki-Jiki survives, we can bring down the Outrider, do 4 damage to our opponent based off our lands, and be able to send it in for an attack, like, make a copy of it, send that in for attack. So we're looking at 4, 8, 12 damage from that alone. And, let's see. Do we have enough mana to blitz the underdog? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I didn't think we'd get to keep the Kiki-Jiki, but it would have been great. Alright, let's go ahead and get this to the board. Let's go for the Appraiser. We'll eat their Trespasser from their graveyard. Put one of these cards into your hand. We will obviously take the Invoke. And pass. So next turn we get to Invoke. Unless they attack our hand here. We'll offer the trade with the Appraiser, because I feel like they have Meat Hook Massacre. So if I blocked with the Outrider, it would have been a X3 there. Let's get a Blitzen. And miss lethal, because I realized after I did that, I had the ability to actually, I had just enough mana to actually do Invoke Despair and Lightning Strike, which would have been enough. Alright, opponent's gonna hit us with the Despair. But it's gonna be GG's here. We don't even go for a Blitz attempt with the underdog, we just go for the Despair because they may have a cut down. And there we go. We took down Mono Black. And it wasn't like we felt like we were being really pressured by that Mono Black with our card options we had. Like, we had Flame Blast Bolt that we discarded in the early game because we didn't see an early underdog from our opponent. So we had the answers the entire time. Hello, Hench. How are things going? Oh, that reminds me. Let's see. How do I do that? So that's you. And there we go. There you go, Hench. You're now a VIP. I just had the VIP status unlocked, and considering, you know, you're one of my first subscribers, you are very, like, deserving of the VIP part. So, it's all good. Thanks. I just made Coco Elves. Ooh, Coco Elves. With the new elf in the format, that actually does add some extra power to it. Now, elf decks are just kind of like crazy how powerful they can go when they start spinning off the top of their deck. So I wish you the best of luck with the deck. Alright. Let's see. On the game, we'll go ahead and keep this. Got ourselves a lot of power in this hand. We'll just lead with the black-blue source. Can't think of anything off the top of my head that we ran that would warrant us needing the blue source this early, but I figure we don't have a turn 1 play anyway, so might as well. We'll attempt to put underdog to the board. But, by the way, to answer your question, Hinch, we are doing really well over here. We are playing our Domain Burn deck here, and now I did screw up and forget to adjust lands for our first game. Second game, after I made the adjustments, we played against Mono Black and crushed it really solidly. Let's attempt Mirror Breaker. Hopefully no Counterspell. Unfortunately, it looks like our opponent has the pay 2 more Counterspell in their hand. It's either that or it's Negate. Yep, there's Make Disappear. So we're against red, white, blue, black, control of some type. Let's just pass it to the opponent. We have lots of interaction on our opponent's turn. We might just use the charm to dig off the top. Oh, it's a Zur deck. Okay. In that case, 5 damage to Zur. Let's appraise some corpses, just in case the opponent has recursion for Zur. Now, this is going to be greedy, but I'm going to take the Outrider. I really should take the Proving Grounds, just that way we have the 5th mana source for playing Outrider, but also so that way we can get the extra burn damage for it entering the battlefield. Alright. Let's see here. We'll go for the Mirror Breaker. Probably going to have to discard Massacre here. Yep, there's another Zur. We have to kill Zur before we can actually target the binding. No blocks. Let's see. Let's actually discard... discard. I originally did say we want to keep this, but I feel like I need the Corpse Appraiser here. Potentially. But we can also just add it back to hand. So, miss some damage because they can block here. Well, actually, don't miss damage that they blocked because, you know, we can Lightning Strike them. So we'll get to do 2 parts. Add this back to hand. Go for the Appraiser. Underdog's our only legal target, but there we go. Invoke Despair. This is what we want. Unfortunately, we need another black source before we can play it, so hopefully the token survives, so that way we can get the treasure. Hello, Izzy. How are you doing? Have a deck surprise for you later in the stream here. We'll take the 6. And let's see what the opponent does. Yes, you had requested a deck idea to be made, and I have completed a version of it, and want to see how it works. You have news. What's the news, Izzy? Let's see. Let's pass it to the opponent. I want to hold up all the mana because the opponent may be holding on counterspells, and I want to be able to answer the binding on board. Hit diamond in historic. Congratulations. Mono white stuff, huh? Okay, so opponent's going to attempt to put counters. The fact that they're going to give their creature first strike is troublesome. Let's get rid of the Emperor. Oh, that would be great if you're willing to share. We can show it off to everyone what you used to get to Diamond and Historic. Let's see, Meat Hook 3. Unfortunately, we don't have the answer to that. Now, we can use Invoke Despair, get rid of both of these. I was kind of waiting for the opponent to be tapped out for the purpose of this. Oh, you're a Platinum Tier 1 in Historic. Nice, Hench. Almost a diamond there, huh? Let's see. So, Corpse Braiser enters. Corpse Braiser in our graveyard is what we exile. We'll grab the Xander's Lounge here. Now we have the mana base that we can play Invoke Despair without needing to sacrifice. Going to attempt the attack with the Appraiser, see what the opponent does. Alright, opponent does nothing. Attempt Outrider. Who knows? Maybe that's what Hench needs to help them push the to Diamond. All right. So Outrider's great for us just because it does allow us to block the Rafine. All these companions aren't bad for us if they're sitting on the board because we can just meat hook like X1, get ourselves some life back. Get a block. Alright. X1, meat hook. Get rid of all the companions. Well, I know you said, Hench, you were making elves, and elves are probably going to help you climb really well there. Okay, so we get a hit in for 5. Gonna go for a Corpse Appraiser to the board instead of going for maybe like Lightning Strike to push pressure. I'm surprised they didn't use Make Disappear to stop our meat hook. Because if they had used this sacrifice a companion, they still would have had a companion to block for them. And we wouldn't have been able to gain life back. Leyline of Binding for our opponent. Yeah, Elves is actually quite the pile of cards you have to make it work. Okay. Well, that's a GG situation because we play Outrider, deal 3 damage, and we win it. We actually took down Xur the Enchanter in a slightly dicey method, but the burn actually worked out. Now, I know I could have also used the Lightning Strike, but Invoke Despair wouldn't have done it, so it was quite the close match. I do like the Xur deck. It is interesting. And plan on trying to make a variant of it ourselves someday. But, yeah, Izzy, just so I can show you what deck you'd asked me to try to make a deck around RatadraBox, as well as a deck around the other 2-drop white-black creature. Well, A little later today, I'm going to run what I call RatadraBox, which is a mirror box style deck where we have a deck built around playing the Sadistic Pilgrim and RatadraBox of Urborg. Now, I don't know how well this is going to work out, but I think this is going to be an interesting deck, and we'll have some fun with this later today. I want to try getting a few more games of Domain Burn in for content purposes, so that way we try to see about uploading for YouTube. Let's see, Elf is really good. Yeah, turn 4 wins with Elves is very, very likely because of the fact that you have all the mana producers, the fact that you get the, I think there's 3 or 4 different lords in Historic format. Actually, no, there's 5 lords in Historic format. Because you have the Clan Caller at 2, that has the ability to search itself out of the deck for 6 mana. You have the Imperious Perfect. You have, I forget the name of the Druid, but it allows you to tap for green mana for each, it's your elf you control? Yeah, for 1 green mana for each elf you control. You have the new Lord, and I'm forgetting one. Okay, so you got your deck list posted. Let's go ahead and take a look at it for everyone. Oh, just a reminder also, I know not everyone is in our Discord for this announcement, but in the store, if you haven't bought it in the daily deals yet, they have free gold. Basically, spend 50 gold, get yourself 550, so 500 free gold for you. That's half a pack right there. But, alright, let me see about finding Izzy's deck real quick. Okay, so you're doing mono white lifelink angels. Oh, there's a weird barrage of texts. So, yeah, mono white life gain. So you have the Soul Wardens, Voice of the Blessed, Heliod. These are all great. Definitely looks like you're looking for some more Heliods for your deck, though. Righteous Valkyrie is amazing. An Angel of Destiny. This seems a little, like, crazy that you're running these angels, considering how expensive they are. They're really slow running. But, let's see. Enters battlefield, you get Protection of the Chosen Type. Other creatures you control have Indestructible. It itself is indestructible. Avacyn, if you ever get this to board, often just denies your opponent from being able to have a chance to interact with your board state. Revitalizes for draw, Faithful Absence spot removal. Console of Authority of Consuls is amazing for your deck. Cleric classes does give you recursion as well as the extra +1/+1 counter duration, which makes sense. Your creature has vigilance at the beginning of your end step, create a human. It synergizes with the ETBs of Gain Life. Makes sense. Makes sense. Wandering Emperor is just a strong one in general, and Elspeth also does do a lot for your deck as well. This is an interesting build. The only card that seems a little out of place are these Cathar Calls. Like, they're a little weak. Same with, like, these cards. They're really strong late game cards, but a little out there as well. I do think the Fountain of Renewal is interesting for your deck because of the fact that it's you know, passive guaranteed life gain for you, because that means that you'll guarantee your Heliod triggers or Voice of the Blessed triggers each turn, where you don't have to rely on a creature entering the battlefield like if you did a Soul Warden, another like Soul Warden creature. I don't think, here's what I'd say though, I'd probably just cut these 2 creatures, because I'm not seeing any form of Rampage in your deck, and I feel like these just get stuck in your hand. Oh no, Angel of Destiny is. I'm not saying anything bad about Angel of Destiny. It's the Emissary and Avacyn Angel of Hope. These are just so expensive for your deck. I fear these just sit in your hand the entire game. And I think you're just better off having yourself the little one-drop creature that's gains life whenever a creature enters your battlefield. And I'm just saying, they feel like they would get stuck in your hand and be kind of an awkward situation. I just go with the little one-drop that has Disturb so that we can bring it back. Because that way, if you get board wipes, you still have the potential of getting a new creature back to the board. It also does add to your life gain synergies. But it definitely seems like an interesting deck. Nice to hear it's working well for you. I mean, the Righteous Valkyrie just spins games out of control crazy if you ever can get this. And Soul Warden is just a great card in general, paired with Voice of the Blessed, as well as Heliod. So, got some great cards here. I definitely say, like, getting more Heliods, probably not bad. At least, like, one more for your deck. But I know that you're sometimes limited based off of what you have at the moment. Let's see. Very possible I have one for Avacyn and wanted to use one. Oh, okay. I mean, I can understand that. The thing is, it's once when you usually play Avacyn, you usually do it in a Reanimator deck, where it's usually red, white, black. And what you do is you end up using the red cards to pitch it into your graveyard. Then you reanimate it straight to the board. It has indestructible. All your other perms have indestructible, and it just runs away with games because of that. I'm saying what it typically is used for, not that you can't use it the way you are. I'm just worried about the consistency of the deck, because it doesn't have any play unless you play it in the late game. I mean, hey, yeah, I mean, if it's just a one-of, sure, go ahead, have fun with it. I was just thinking, if you were trying to get more competitive with the deck, those would be the suggestions I would make to it, is all. Yeah, I mean, Emissary gets played usually from decks that have some form of ramp, whether they're like a green-white deck or they're a recursion deck. And sometimes a mono-white deck that, because there is actually a thing as mono-white ramp. And you could do it in that deck as well. But, I mean, just playing it fairly out in a life gain deck where you just gain so much life that you stall out of board state. No, I could see you could get it out on the board. You survive long enough. So, I mean, it's working for you. That's the important part, right? Well, go ahead and jump back into another game. See, this is going to be... Let me take a look at our match list here. Jumping into game 3 for the deck. Game number 1, we just unfortunately got completely mana hosed and lost, but nice to see the deck is overall working out really well. Okay, this actually seems like a pretty good hand. Go Proving Ground turn 1. Turn 2, we can play the Swamp. Get ourselves a Bloodtide Harvester. Now that I'm in Diamond, I can mess around and not care if I lose. Well, yeah, I mean, you already are at the point where you're high enough rank that you'll get the better rewards for the end of season. Unless you want to push for the Mythic. Alright, we're against Mono Black again. You know, I'm actually going to lead with Underdog. Because Underdog has the ability that if they do kill it, we can bring it back with a Blitz. Yep. Let's go for... You know, I feel like our opponent's just going to exile our Underdog. So let's exile it ourselves. Oh, I put down the wrong land. Never mind. We are not going to exile it ourselves. Alright. Another Underdog to the board. Half the month is left, why not push for Mythic? Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so like I thought, our opponent did have a Trespasser. And I was thinking I should, you know, make sure to exile it ourselves with our Corpse Praiser, but I accidentally forgot this is black, red, green. I meant to put down the island for the Corpse Praiser. Gotta love once when you're, like, going to play around your opponent and fail. Alright, let's send this in. I know the opponent can activate that. But if we Flame Blast Bolt, get rid of it, we'll deny the opponent a lot of card draw. And this time, we're going to properly Corpse Praise our own underdog. Grab the Invoke Despair. Oh yeah, that's another thing I need to do. I'll do that in a little bit. Alright, so we can't play the Despair this turn. Any other creatures in graveyards? I don't think there is. So let's just go for Rafine's Tower to the board. Play the Bloodtithe Harvester, just that way we can keep it during the day. I was debating, like, maybe I cycle the Lounge. Let's see, not sure if you want this, but if... Let's see, what? Oh, sorry, let me... interaction here. Invoke Despair. Give up the Harvester. Let's see, so back to your comment. Not sure if you want this, but what I want is each ranked queue be a different queue. So for example, you could be Diamond 4 in Historic, but Plat 4 in Standard. Oh, I get what you're saying. One of the things you're hoping Wizards would allow is for us to be able to get rewarded more based off the format we're playing in. And in all honesty, I sort of understand where you're coming from on that. And I do have a slight agreement with that mentality, because a person who chooses just to grind in one format can bring themselves up to a rank. Alright, I'm going to go for the islands, so that way I can play Mirror Breaker here. But as I was saying, they could grind themselves up in a format and get the rewards, even though they don't necessarily, like, they are playing in a way that I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. Yeah, I mean, it does mean that there would be more grinding, but it's actually, how I look at it is it's more grinding opportunities for a person to get more free rewards. It's bad for their business model, in all honesty. Do I play around Cut Down? No, I go for the blocks. Alright. Hit them with an Invoke Despair. Get ourselves some draw value. And it'll be the opponent's turn. I decide to hold all the cards. Man, we're just going to get despaired out of this game, because that's despair number 3 for the opponent. Alright. Let's go for a Corpse Appraiser to the board. We'll take away our... No, opponent's Trespasser. Grab Lightning Strike. Land to board. Harvester to board. Next turn... Potential lethal? Because we can Lightning Strike for 3, brings them down to 7. Alright. Meat hook for our opponent. So they're going to gain some life. Alright, Liliana for our opponent. Discard this. Decide not to fire off the Lightning Strike. So we only get one draw. Go for our underdog. Gotta try to keep putting things back to the board, so that way we don't die to their 4th Invoke Despair if they have it. Also, you know, prevents them from blitzing in an underdog and just getting in damage. Oh, Shouldred's bad. Putting a stop on my upkeep, just in case they grab Shouldred. I also think there should be a mythic pack for... I think there should be mythic packs for all sets. Oh, actually, that would be also one of the things that would be kind of cool. It's like if you could get a mythic pack reward that rewarded you based off the format you're in. So you actually get format, like, related cards. Alright, bring the opponent down to 4. I decided to hold the land because we have the blood here to discard draw. If we can hit our Outrider, we can get the win here. Let's see here. How much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's tap this. Discard Rafine's Tower. No, we fail. Alright. Raid Reckoner to the board. Force the opponent to have to block. Pass it to the opponent. Opponent's at 5, so still top decking our domain creature, because we haven't come across a single copy of it yet. And we're in the bottom 28 with 4 copies in the deck. We should be able to find it. Alright, Blitz. Kill Sorin. Fable. Representing lethal to board. Because we can blitz 3 here. So yeah, they're going to make a sacrifice. Do we have... We actually do have something in our graveyard. Let's discard this. I still can't find it. Alright. Let's get rid of this. Get back Corpse Appraiser. Appraiser to the board. Get rid of Shieldred. No recursion for them. Find the Invoke. So we have lethal. I don't think there's a way for our opponent to survive here. We'll offer the GGs because they've just played a land. We're representing lethal on board. If they do actually have a sweeper, we just invoke Despair and kill them. Okay, so I don't invoke Despair. Triggers go after the loss of life, so yeah. I had to think that for a moment because I was worried that if I use the Invoke Despair, do I accidentally kill myself because of the draw triggers? But no, they hit 0 state first. Then the triggers would go on the stack. So triggers never actually are a thing there. Whew. Took down Mono Black again. We're actually doing really well against it. Give me one moment. I'll go ahead and get some light in here. A nice softer light instead of our usual harsh light. But yeah, no, Izzy, I do think you're onto something. That would be great because it would be like if you like to play in the historic format. It would be nice that it's like you can maybe choose your rewards towards the historic instead for the constructed thing, instead of it always being. Because when you get the rewards, it's always going to be whatever the newest set is. But I also look at it this way. It doesn't matter what set you're getting the rewards from. In the historic format, all the sets are playable and viable. And new cards in general are going to be things that you're going to want. Let's see. Also think... let's see. Let me reread your things to make sure I understand what you're saying then. I also think there should be mythic packs for all sets so that... What do you mean by... Oh, mythic packs are terrible. I would never suggest buying the mythic pack. So, if you're looking at these packs, you're looking at the mythic pack here, while they give you a better chance to get mythics out of them, the extra cost on them, it's not usually worth it. Well, if you don't buy them, why would you want to promote the idea of making these mythic packs for the older set? That just seems like a flawed idea right there. Ask them to do work to... Well, it's a new product going forward idea. It's not that they're only favoring standard with this. So, like, because this set has rotated out, and you can still buy their mythic packs. So, it's not that they're not saying you can't buy it for older sets. It's just simply we made this product for this set. So, and they're going to, from what it looks like, do it all this time now going forward. So, I hope that makes sense on their rationale, why they don't go back and make it for older ones. In fact, actually, did they do it for the older ones? With how you're saying it, they didn't do it. It's not like it would be hard for them to just program it, but yeah, you're right. You can't get the mythic packs for the older stuff. But like I said, I usually don't believe in wanting to pay the extra just to increase my odds at getting a mythic, because it's not foolproof. You still have I'd still rather just get the regular packs, because after you buy so many of the regular packs, you get those little blips for opening packs, and it helps you, get certain cards in general. But if you're specifically going for just the mythics from a set, I guess it makes sense that you'd want them. Well, the thing is, that's I think a slightly flawed mentality with how you're saying that. Not all the cards that are best in a format are mythic. Now, don't get me wrong, the mythic rare setting is supposed to be that it's like, yes, these are going to be the the idea for like the chase cards a lot of times with how they design them for a set. But there's been a number of them that are just cards that just hard flop, and you wouldn't ever want them. In fact, they're bulk rares for a number of them. And if you don't know what I mean by bulk rare, like if you were to go buy the card in paper, you can buy some of these cards like for 50 cents because they're just so bad, even at the mythic rarity. So the chasing mythics isn't what you want to necessarily do. What you want to do is chase what's good for your deck. I know they're not always the best, but some people want them, and it would allow them to collect them easier. I mean, I kind of understand you on that, because after all, when it comes to sets, I have a weird thing. Like, if I ever get a pack of... Which one is it? Is it Midnight Hunt? No, it's, Why are these out of order? This should be right next to this. That's kind of weird. I think it's Crimson Vow. If I go over here and I actually turn on just my rares and mythics here, you can see that I actually have so many of these filled out that I actually usually get gems whenever I open one of these packs. And the thing is, I don't have a single Cemetery Gatekeeper, but I get gems out of this pack. It's like, why can't you just give me the Gatekeeper? I actually thought this was be a good card to use, but I just can't pull them in the pack. I think their most recent patch threw them out of order. But that's a small thing in all honesty. But yeah, I still don't have like a full playset of Caretakers. So I can understand that maybe I might want to just open up some mythic packs to try to find the cards I'm missing here. Because as you see, I have every other rare in this set. Oh, and I also don't have a full set of Protectors. So I'm missing just the mythics. So I understand that idea. Well, in which case, we'll play, I think, what is it, 2 more rounds of this? Maybe 3 more rounds? And then we'll switch up the decks to our new deck design, RatadraBox. We'll try to see if we can get up to 5 wins before we get 3 losses. Let's try that. Whichever happens first, either 5 wins or 3 losses. We're currently 3-1 with the deck. Alright, this hand's a little awkward, but I think it's still keepable. We'll try it. The reason why it's awkward is because we have the Soul Transfer and we're actually missing the black sources for it, but Fable of the Mirror Breaker does a great job of usually helping us find, you know, the card options we want. Alright, we're against blue of some type. We'll go ahead and play another black source to the board, pass it back. One's going to consider something. Yeah, I think we're against maybe mono blue tempo here. In which case, this more than likely just gets hit by a counterspell. Yep, there's a negate. Alright, Mountain, pass it back to the opponent. The issue with the deck we're playing against is they just run a ton of counterspells, as well as these cantrip type cards where they, you know, play a spell, draw a card. And their 2 win condition is the Djinn that flies with power equal to number of spells in their graveyard. And the other one is the 5/5 hexproof creature. I'm not hexproof, but ward creature. Yep, there it is, the Tolarian Terror. And the issue is they hold up mana to still counterspell us. Well, let's start going for some Outriders. If they let this resolve, we get to hit them for 4. And if they counterspell it, we're just eating away at those counterspells. So we can maybe get a Soul Transfer off to get rid of the Terror. Sorry, the Ajani seems like a great card to add to what? I'm confused. Oh, you're gonna clone your mono white deck and add green to try to go for the Ajani. Which one is Greathearted, the newest one, or is that the slightly older? Well, that was not what I was trying to do. Let's see if we can exile this. Alright, we've managed to fight our way through the counterspells. Does our opponent have another counterspell? Let's go for another... I need to quit clicking that button. We attempt another... Alright, we get it. Sorry, I don't have that add-on. 4 mana, 5 loyalty. Oh, okay, okay. War the Spark one. Yes, I know that one. That one gives all your creatures vigilance as a passive. And then allows you to put +1/+1 counter. No, I don't have it yet. I don't know how to get that one set up. I don't know which what the name of it is that people use is my issue. I would like to get the add-on set up, but I just don't know what it is. Alright. We'll pass it back to the opponent. We're going to hold up Maestro's Charm for once when they try to put a creature to the board. Alright. Let's attempt to just start burning the face a little. I say a little bit because I want to hold up enough burn to still take down the Djinn if they bring it down. Yeah, that's the one I was figuring you're talking about. Now, the thing is, if the primary reason why you'd want to splash green, by the way, is so we can play Coco. The Johnny probably wouldn't be terrible, but I don't think it's going to be super amazing for your deck. But the Coco's the card that'll break your deck. If you're not sure what I mean by Coco, it's called Collected Company. It allows you at instant speed, grab 2 creatures from the top 6 of your deck, and throw them straight into play. If you have 4 Coco, I would recommend it then. Okay. I have a habit of making sure to explain the card, just in case. Alright, opponent's doing a lot of draw digging here. Eventually they'll play the Djinn, and it's just going to be so powerful that we're going to have problems. I'm going to cycle right now. Alright, there's another soul transfer. That's good. Opponent's down to 5. We actually could just threaten lethal by getting a Maestro Charm or a Lightning Strike to land on the opponent's face. Alright, there's the Djinn. I don't actually target the Djinn. I actually go for the face. Really, actually, I shouldn't have played Maestro's Charm because Make Disappear counterspells it. Should have just gone for the face with the Lightning Strike instead. Let's attempt the Lightning Strike. Okay. How many more counterspells do you have, opponent? Because I have to do this, unfortunately. Strangely enough, I only end out with 2 red sources. If I had more red sources, I'd potentially be able to Flame Blast Bolt, get rid of the Djinn. Alright, they're going to march, and yeah, that's going to be GG there. Oh, that's such a shame. We didn't hit any of our creatures. We sat there on all this control magic, and Meathook Massacre is just kind of a dead card to us. They did so much draw because we couldn't do anything to pressure them. Alright. Unfortunately, that is another loss for the deck. Well, if you're going to go more Walker fun, then Coco would not be good for you. I mean, if you're actually going more Walker fun, you may even want to consider Johnny's Oath, but I can't remember how that one worked exactly. I remembered it was supposed to be like a card that like put a +1 counter on each of your creatures and then did something to Planeswalkers. I think it gave them all an additional loyalty. But I think it's only a one-time ETB, so I don't think it's probably that worthwhile. I was just thinking of like cards off the top of my head that might be what you're interested in. I'll be honest though, with your Angel build, I would probably if say the strongest thing you could do. I mean, so your life gain-ish build. It's not fully Angel. With your life gain-ish build that you have, the strongest thing I could recommend is probably trim the high cost Angels, throw in the Coco, up the number of Heliod's. But that's just off top of head what I could maybe recommend. Alright, we'll keep this. Let's put a +1/+1 counter on all your creatures and one walker. Oh, and walkers cost 1 less to cast. Oh, okay. So I didn't remember that correctly. There's just so many cards, it's hard to remember them all. Alright, we'll get the Raid Reckoner to the board. Opponent's got a lot of hand disruption. But to be honest, I'm not too worried about being forced to discard these since we get, you know, redraws. Alright, opponent missed a land draw. Let's appraise our own underdog. A lot of land. We'll take the Proving Grounds. See, not sure if the Phyrexian Walker. Well, the Phyrexian Walker, it's not for your build. That's for certain. It's not a bad card in the slightest. Let's go ahead and get rid of this underdog. Let's play out Proving Grounds. We'll send the bodies because we can get the 2/3 because of the Menace. I mean, the Phyrexian Walker is just more or less what it is. It's just it's the new gimmick. Alright, we're gonna blitz just so we can get the card draw. We have too many lands in hand. At this point, if the opponent actually does find something decent to rip out of our hand, I'm not gonna feel too bad, but it's all lands. Alright. Blitz. Attack. Kill one. The nice thing is all the Phyrexian Walkers, for the completed stuff that they've gone with so far, like Tameo and this new Ajani, I feel like they actually did them a decent treatment with how you can... Wow, the lands! Anyways, case, I was gonna say, I think they did a decent treatment on them with the ability... Wow, the opponent's just gonna take it. Alright. They're afraid of another burn spell. I think they did a good treatment with the choose to pay 2 life, but start with less loyalty to get them out faster. Or for cheaper, I should say. Alright, here we go. Opponent, please take 5. Now, I feel so much like I'm beating on someone that just can't defend themselves because they spent this entire time only on 2 lands. We'll take the lightning strike here. And yeah, opponent has scooped it up. Well, that's actually one of those things. I'm trying to actually think about it. there actually have been some Phyrexians, storyline-wise, that actually, you know, weren't evil. Now, granted, those are in the severe minority on their storylines. One of them would be a early storyline-wise would be Zancha. He was a let's see. Like, is time to retire a Johnny or Tamio? I mean, there is the small chance that they could go with the idea that they find a way to restore their mentality back to the Planeswalkers. But you are correct that it is possible that they've been corrupted to the point that there is no return to them. But now, they have done the idea where characters have gone to madness, like Garruk. And Garruk was on a just constant murder spree, completely mentally gone. And only recently regained his sanity. So they may or may not choose to return some of those characters. I unfortunately have not paid attention to the storyline exactly. I haven't gone out and read it for how this set has happened. And I need to go do that. I need to find the story and read it. I actually read a number of stories for the different sets, but there's certain ones that definitely got away from me. Alright, let's see. What's our record with the deck so far? Let's see. We're 4-2. Alright, let's play one more game. And we'll see if we manage to get a 5-2 score here or a 4-3 score. Okay. Seems keepable. We'll go with it. You know, I'll be honest. When I was thinking about cards to put in, Raid Reckoner was one of those things that I wasn't sure how well it would work. I just went with the idea that it's just a little bit of, like, extra potential burn and sustain. But this card's been working out better than I thought it would with this deck. Alright, looks like we're against some kind of mono-blue control deck again. Gonna go for the Salt Marsh, just to play around Syncopate from our opponent, because that would exile the underdog if they had the ability to mana spike us for 1 here. Let's see. But Madness and Completed are different. You are correct. They are completely different. So I wasn't sure how the storyline will treat those characters. The thing is, they actually did have, though, like I mentioned, an old character that they did before that suffered, well, actually, it was made in Phyrexia, called Zancha. And they actually are a person who broke free from the Phyrexian control. And eventually after they died, in the story, spoilers, but it's super old story, their heart actually is what was used to power Karn. Because of their heart was basically like a power stone. And later on, Karn actually ends up getting the Might and Meek Stone from Urza, put into him from Gerard, and that's actually what ignited Karn's spark. So I know that opponent's definitely holding counter magic here. Let's attempt the attack. See what the opponent does. Beat Hook. X2. I go X2 so that way they cannot use Shore Up to protect the Hadi Dijin. It forces them to have to use Make Disappear or one of those counter spells. Oh, no, I understand what you're saying on that. I mean, it is a completely different case. New story and everything, so it's no clue exactly how the Alright, let's go for an Invoke Despair. Have to attempt it. Opponent's full of counterspell magic, but we have to, you know, attempt to have an answer against this opponent. There's the Syncopate that I was worried about from before. Oh, hold back. This is one of those things about this deck, though, is it's just so much counterspell magic. It's kind of ridiculous to have to deal with. At this point, the only thing that saves us would be another Meat Hook, and we'd have to get it to resolve. Oh, actually, no, I take it back. There is another spell that could save us. We haven't drawn it all night. I think, actually, no, we drew it once. Drag Down would actually be a card that could have saved us here. But sadly, we didn't draw it. Although, if we resolve Blood Tithe, we could discard Underdog and still have enough mana to play it. So, what are the odds those last two cards in their hand isn't some kind of counterspell? Do we get it? Nope, that's it. Yeah, good game, opponent. You get the win. We'll go ahead and let them beat us in the face with those creatures. We have no outs. Ah, such a shame. And the worst part is, like, if we had drawn the Drag Down, we actually would have had the mana. Well, I take it back. We wouldn't have had the mana. I was going to say, we had the mana to actually pay for a Make Disappear, but they would have gladly sacrificed the Terror to make sure that it gets counterspelled, and, you know, they can still punch into the Jins. But, oh well. It was a good attempt, but sadly, Mono Blue definitely took us for a run there. Let's see, your last comments. Like, I'm completely fine with more Tamiyo or Johnny Walkers in the future, but they're Phyrexia now, which probably means we won't see them again, which is kind of sad. Well, I don't think they killed either one of them within the story. Like I said, I haven't read it to know their fate. So it is possible, if they survive, that we might see them, you know, down the line again. Either still in their completed form, or as people find ways to maybe bring them back. And in some cases, it could just actually not actually be the walker itself actually I'm trying to think how to say this. The Phyrexia had before made duplicates of characters that hadn't died yet. So that's always a possibility that a Johnny itself, the one we're seeing, might not actually be completed. It might actually just be a duplicate, like a false a Johnny. Like I said, I haven't read the story. I'll have to read it to double check. But in any which case, that's going to end it for this deck. We'll go ahead and jump into our second deck after I give just a quick wrap up on my thoughts on it. The thing is, certain books, I really like the stories. And one of the things I used to love doing is Magic used to sell something called a Fat Pack. And what that was basically that little box that you can get now that has like the booster packs and the lands in there, and the deck, the like list of cards. It used to also include a book, and I used to always get one of those whenever a new set came out, and I'd read them. Now, granted, certain sets because they were done by different authors, had some great writing, and some of them just had some terrible writing. Like, oh man, I forget the name of the set, but I didn't actually read the book myself. My brother did. It had some really bad inconsistency on keeping pronouns correct between the characters. So it's like we could tell that they're talking about a certain character, but the character's pronouns kept flipping. And this was an old book, so no clue on. It made it so hard to keep track of who it was talking about at any time. But the some of the early books, like Arena, the original Brothers War, those were great books, fun to read. Yeah, Fat Packs are definitely going back a ways. They haven't done Fat Packs in, oh shoot, it's been over 5 years now. But the I remember actually reading like the original Kamigawa set books. I actually have like right here. I'm not sure if it'll show up here, but yeah, here's Guardians. I was trying to actually reread this one because I was trying to remember which events took place in this book. But the stories that you get of like the original Toshiro and how he interacted with Maronar and things like that were actually, I thought, were fun reads. But in any case, that's just what it is. I do want to try to catch up on what's going on in Dominaria, because I did read about the original cast of the Weatherlight. Now, I did skip the second coming of Dominaria, and I kind of felt bad about that. So I kind of want to go read what happened then and then read what happens now. Because it is bringing back a lot of the old characters, and I want to know what's going on. Oh yeah, the dice. Now you still actually can get these dice. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up, but they have the like little special set symbols and stuff, and you can basically get what's was the Fat Pack now, but all it is the box, the dice, and some booster packs in it. I think it still also comes with the list of cards, and they're actually good deals, in all honesty. I actually don't discourage picking those up, because I like the idea of just getting the box for helping hold cards, and the packs in them are like really randomly sorted, and you can get multiple mythics out of them sometimes, and they can be absolute fire on what you can get. Now sometimes you just get like just a you know, I think it's 5 packs in them. You get just 5 random rares. It's truly random. It's not like getting a booster box, because one time I actually opened one of those and I ended up getting like 3 different mythic packs out of the set, and it was just a really like cool feeling. I ended up getting like that great of one. In fact, actually, that was once when Primeval Titan was a thing. I ended up getting that as one of the mythics, and I forgot what the other 2 were. Like, I ended up getting 2 of the Titans, but I forgot what the second one was. Well, in which case, sorry, you got me reminiscing. So, to cover the deck idea here for Domain Burn, we ended up as a final score going 4-3 with this. It was a lot of fun, and I don't think this one's going to be like a super competitive deck here, but I do like a lot of how it functions, and playing around the idea of just going with this common to build around was interesting, and had some cool payoffs. Yes, they're so random, are they? Yeah, definitely about the those box packs. Those were so random. But as I was saying, the payoffs on Outrider was really cool to see once when we got them off. And while we didn't get to see it, you know, go with the Reflections of Kiki Jiki combo, because most of the time, as anyone would, they kill off the Kiki Jiki right away. But we actually played against Mono Black multiple times and just crushed the deck. So I'm surprised at how well we did against that, but we are just a control deck for the most part, so I guess it's not too surprising. And the deck that we had the most trouble against is Mono Blue. We came across that one twice, and that was 2 of our losses. One of our losses was just from being completely shorted on mana. But I think this is just a fun deck, and if you have the ability to like craft it, you don't have to actually use the Outrider. You can change this to any other card. But I think it's a decent deck to play. Like the basic core of all of these cards are really solid, so just that alone will work for you. But that's it for that deck. Alright, so I hope you're excited now, Izzy, because we're going to show off the deck challenge that you gave me. Because I managed to get the cards. A lot of these cards, actually, from the new stuff, I managed to actually get from all the extra booster packs from us doing drafting. So, in which case, this is going to be RatadraBox. It's called that because it is a mirror box deck. We are running lots of legendary cards. And each legendary creature we control just passively get a +1/+1. And each non-token creature we control gets an additional +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. Which leads to some interesting mechanics because we run RatadraBox of Urborg. Now, we actually go for all 4 copies of this because of how RatadraBox works. Not only because of Mirror Box being able to get multiples on the board, but we actually, if we play a second RatadraBox with this on the board, we get some interesting interactions. If they, legendary rule themselves down. So, whenever another legendary creature you control dies, you get to create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 zombie in addition to its other colors and types. What this means for us is that we'll be able to get all the passives off our creatures that are legendary if they happen to die with RatadraBox on board. And if we happen to have multiple RatadraBox on board, because, like I said, if we play one, they'll legendary rule themselves down to having a 3/3 version and a 2/2 non-legendary version. But it also means that cards like Lagomos, the Hand of Hatred, will be able to potentially still get the ability of the passive of just generating these 2/1 tokens that just can keep attacking our opponent that have trample. And if we can get multiple of these, that just means more tokens. And that means it's also potentially easier for us to get that tap to search our deck for any card. We have the Sadistic Pilgrim, so that way whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, we gain a life. Whenever a creature our control dies, our opponent loses a life. So we also pair that with Jadar, the Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. That if we don't have a zombie token with Decay, at the end of turn we'll create that 2/2 zombie token. And this is great for us because that means that we can get Lagomos and Ghoul Caller potentially churning extra tokens that we're fine with making sure they die. So that way we can get new enter battlefield triggers, new death triggers, and get ourselves a drain plan with this Sadistic Pilgrim. We have the Resplendent Cathar. Since we're sending all these tokens, might as well get some human tokens in there also. And the Resplendent Cathar can potentially grow to have such a high power that we're fine with sending it in. If it does die, we'll get a 2/2 version of it. So the 2/2 version's power is going to be locked at 2. So, but it'll still have that passive at least generating as the 1/1 tokens whenever any of our creatures attack. We run some Edgar the Charmed Grooms because when the first Edgar dies, it will transform into the coffin, but we'll still get the 2/2 copy of Edgar from RatadraBox that says all of our other vampires will get +1/+1. So that actually seems like a great combo there. We run the Forgotten Archangel because if for some reason any of our creatures die besides the Archangel, we'll get not only a copy of the creature with RatadraBox, but we'll get the creature added back to our hand to be able to put back to the board. So that seems awesome. And we also run one Olivia, the Crimson Bride, because it's recursion to help make sure we can get RatadraBox to stick to the board. And we also run a copy of Florian the Scion because it's a great 3-drop, first strike. So it's a solid body. We'll go more to the ability if we draw it during the fights. And it's just kind of this fun legendary pile that we have going on here. We have a little spot removal in the form of cut down, some touch of spirit realms, and we also have some meat hook maskers to give us some sweeping action. And with Mirror Box, all of our creatures don't have the legendary rule, means that we can actually have multiple meat hooks on board, which could lead to some silly shenanigans as well. Not sure how this deck is going to work at all, but with cards like Plaza of Hero to help, fix our mana to play any of these legendary cards, I think we'll have some fun. Oh, I did forget to go over the fact we have Urabrask in the deck as a one-of as well. It was hiding in the background. But that card is just a one-of, as it helps us fight against Sheoldred, because it prevents us from drawing cards, it instead exiles them. So we don't get draw triggers to drain us. And we also prevent the opponent from getting the draw on their first turn to gain life. Also forgot to go over Goro now I think about it. So Goro's in the deck just because it just gives us haste. And can lead to some very powerful plays. Well, this seems like a keepable hand. Let's lead with the Sanctum. I think what we do is we go Plaza of Hero, play Jadar. Never mind. Well, I'm fine with them gaining some life. We'll go for the Jadar. Kind of want to save the cut down for the Brutal Cathar that's bound to come down from our opponent. You know what? I'm actually going to give the trade here. I don't feel like Jadar is like worth trying to make sure we keep. It's a good card for our deck, but not one we feel like we need to protect. Let's go for the haste. And let's bump some damage into the opponent. I was legitimately thinking maybe we keep the decay token for once when we get like one of our death trigger type cards, but ooh, Adelaide's difficult. Let's get Edgar to the board, and it's going to be a pass. Unfortunately, if the opponent does get a Brutal Cathar down this turn, we don't have the mana to cut it down, because Wedding Announcement is going to make it so that way we can't cut it down during our turn. They just pass. We'll go for a Mirror Box. And we'll pass it back to the opponent. Probably should try to find some way to make it so that we can modify a creature for the purpose of the 5/5 dragon in our deck. But I really am just only using Goro for the haste. Unfortunately, borrowed time for our opponent. That's going to be very painful. Alright, let's cut down a token. We're drawing too many lands here. We need to draw some action. That's not enough action, but it's not a bad card for us. The issue is we're just dead on their attack. Because they attack, they get themselves an extra 2/2. And we just die. Yep. Yeah, that's just out of line with Wedding Announcement turned into the festivities. It's painful when you flood that hard. If we'd managed to get ourselves a meat hook, we could have actually just like meat hook 2, been able to get the board back. Alright. Well, we got some cut downs. We have a Lagomos. Let's try keeping it. Trying to think like what's the better for land for us to start off with. Probably start off with Sulphur Springs. While it's painful for us to use this, we can at least like still use it right away. Yep. Hello, opponent. How are you doing? Let's go ahead and go with the plains. Alright, companion for our opponent. Alright, unfortunately we draw another Lagomos. It's one of those things when you play a mirror box deck and you are using so many legendaries. Okay, oh, I guess that's good for us, unless they play a, not recruiter, rescuer. And get it back to their hand, or back to play. Alright, kind of glad I didn't play the Takenuma for a land early. Because at this point, I might just discard it and just try to mill into a creature. Because we have enough mana, we can play, I think, all of our important creatures. Goldhound. Not worried about a Goldhound. Well, actually, I kind of am. He's got first strike. Oh, there's our RatadraBox. RatadraBox. Man, it is a hard name to sometimes say. Tap you for mana and tap those. Send the team. Yeah, unfortunately we lost a mirror box and a meat hook. I wouldn't have mind actually have gotten that, like, been able to get the mirror box, because then we could have put both of these to the board. What's the opponent's play? If they do hit us with a sweeper, we do have the ability that we get this back as a non-legendary, so we can put this to the board and push in a fair bit of damage. Alright, opponent is roping hard on us. Looks like they're thinking out their play. Alright, they play an Overseer, which I'm not too worried about. Actually more worried about the Goldhound, because the first strike on it. Oh, here we go. It's a nice combination of cards. So we send the team. And we actually have the ability to sacrifice this Plaza now to give any of our creatures hexproof and indestructible if we're worried about losing it. And being able to see the Hand of Hatred with the Sadistic Pilgrim on the board does feel nice. Now, I actually could just play this from my hand, Legendary Rule them. But I wanted to hold up the Hero Plaza here, just in case our opponent had some kind of answer that I want to be able to maybe sacrifice that to protect. Now, it is possible that our opponent just has something like a main board Farewell, and that would just feel all sorts of bad. In which case, it's also a good thing we don't put this to the board. I mean, the opponent's in black, white, red, green. I'm not entirely sure what their plan is. Okay, so they kick that. Opponent, that's got Ward. Nice. Opponent realized their mistake and has given us a shame scoop. Now, if they double kick this, they could go like kill the Pilgrim, deal 2 damage to us, but we just get a copy of the Pilgrim back. The issue is actually that it's still a 3/4 lifelinker. So we couldn't send in the tokens to really do damage. We'd have to rely on the Pilgrim's passive of draining the opponent because of the death triggers of this. So it's still a awkward situation. Oh, by the way, congratulations there, Hench. Nice to hear that you managed to make it to Diamond. The elves treating you well, that sounds. Yeah, the grind up to Diamond can be difficult. It's almost as bad as the grind to Mythic. Alright. On the open, I think I'll try keeping this. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm trying to use Touch the Spirit Realm as a removal of choice, we do actually have a little interaction where some of our cards might want us to be able to discard with the channel. So I'm not sure how, strong it's going to be for that. But it also just helps us. It's a answer to a creature from our opponent, but also a protection that spell in a sense as well. So it kind of pulls double duty. Alright, we'll go for the Ganjo. Go for Jadar. Have to hurt ourselves a little bit here. Sulfur Springs are painful mana. Hello, Queen. How you doing? Nice seeing you around again, Mickey. Alright, Sarah Paragon for our opponent. We're just going to kill that right away. Let's go ahead and get our RatadraBox to the board. We'll send both our creatures. We're actually fine if they kill Cool Color, because then we'll get a 2/2 version of it. Alright. So at this point, it would be great if we can get another land so we can put Lagomos and still hold up Touch the Spirit Realm for a discard. You built a drunk deck. What is a drunk deck? Alright. First off, we're going to quickly get this off the board. We are against White-Black Angels. Alright, but does take the block here. We get the upgrade. Alright, well... So 2 days ago you made a deck that you could refer to as a drunk deck, but I have no clue what that entails. Alright, opponent gets us with the Meat Hook 3. That's a shame. Alright, we get a Plaza to the board. Go for Lagomos. Unfortunately, opponent's Meat Hook just basically means that this is only 1 point of damage, because it does 2, it dies, They gain 1. You built it whilst you were drunk. Ah. Well, did you have a moment of clarity in your drunkenness? Or actually, I'm not sure if clarity is the right word. Oh, our opponent's playing a RatadraBox themselves. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and destroy this. Paying the ward 2. And we send this in. So did you get like a evil genius moment while you're in your drunken building state? I guess it's hard to win. I mean, our board state's kind of hard to really end this one because they keep dropping bombs. Alright. Well, another Spirit Realm. Get rid of this. Next turn, we're going to Meat Hook 2. Get rid of the font. Get rid of the Overseer. A 76% win rate. Nice. Glad to hear it worked out for you. Opponent! They won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Alright, that's unfortunately the game there. Yeah, GG's. They hit 3... Oh my gosh, 3 of these. Because they hit 3 of these. We had to actually answer the RatadraBox. We had to answer the Seraph Paragon. And we did actually have a fair bit of removal, but we couldn't get our own, like, threats to the board after this Meat Hook happened. Oh, you made a Jodo the Unifier deck. Oh, okay. Can you go down tires? What do you mean by that? Oh, tiers is probably what you mean. Well, you can drop a tier, like... I can drop down to 4, but I've never actually dropped down from Diamond down to, like, Platinum again. So I don't know if you can, but I've never done it. Like, I know I've got myself to the bottom of a rank, lost a couple games, and didn't rank down. So I can't say for certain. According to a quick search, it says yes, but I don't know. It could just be saying that it's like, yes, you can drop, like, tiers maybe within your rank, but I don't know if it means that you can drop tiers in general. Well, this is definitely a mulligan here. We'll keep this one. This one seems nice. Going to put... Okay then, Hench, thanks for double checking for us. Let's see here. I think I'm just gonna put Gorogoro to the bottom. I don't want to take a risk of putting a land to the bottom and not drawing the land back, but I really probably should have put a land to the bottom. That's a nice draw. Let's go for the Sanctum.
Oh, you don't have to do it that way. That's don't hurt your own ranking. Sorry, opponent. Apparently, they kept a greedy keep. They had to consider and went for draw to try to get their second land source here. All right, they're holding up 2 lands. Let's just start forcing counterspells. This is mono blue again. Yep, there's Make Disappear. So next turn we go for the Pilgrim because we'll be able to pay the mana. I mean, hey, look at it this way. You're at least, making a bunch of people happy that they're getting free wins, right? Oh, no, Queen, I understand. Like, Joda, the moment it hits a board, if they don't have an answer for it, and you potentially cast any legendary, it just immediately ends the game. And in fact, actually, Joda itself could potentially just end the game because it touched the board. Because of all the power it provides. Alright, opponent's going to consider... We might get hit by the Teferi's... not Teferi. What is it? Urtai's spell to counterspell if a player has played 2 spells. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Alright, they're going to send it back to our hand. Okay, Hench. Yeah, that's why I thought. I hadn't ever downranked. And I know I play some crazy deck designs. And I do test them in the ranked mode. And I've fallen to the bottom of a bracket before and not been given a loss of rank. I'm going to go to combat here. I'm just going to play around all their mana taxing counterspells by not trying to be greedy and put Cathar to the board. It does mean that the opponent is able to go for that 3-cost draw spell that they'll have to discard 2 cards unless they discard a land. Yep, there it is. Thirst for Discovery. Well, Queen, he's actually in Diamond right now, and we are determining that there's no ability to drop from Diamond down to Platinum. And I guess off Hench's tests, that seems to be the case. Alright. Go for another Plaza here. Attempt the Resplendent Cathar. Move to combat. Alright, they're going to Vortex to bounce that back to hand. We'll attack with both of these. Keep the pressure. Now, actually, I could have sacrificed this to give this hexproof so that we couldn't bounce. We'll attempt to put this to the board, get a counterspell out of the hand. Alright. Attempt to put this back to the board once more. 0 interaction, so the opponent is out of cards. And we should be able to go Meat Hook 1. And opponent loses. Alright, they have the negate. So, we are dead if the opponent has any spell that they can play. And nope, they don't have any spell that they can play. No draw spells there. Alright. We took down mono blue. Platinum, yep. Diamond, no. Wait. Queen, what are you trying to say with that? Are you trying to say that it's like you can downrank from platinum back down to gold, but you can't downrank from diamond back down to platinum? Because that'd be kind of weird. I think they make it that way you're like locked to whatever like the moment you hit a bracket, like, oh, okay, you're saying yep. All right, because I was gonna say it's like I think once when you hit like I was gonna say if you go from bronze you make it to silver, you can no longer go back down to bronze, but you can, you know, if you hit like silver 1, you can go down to silver 2. That's what it's, I think, counting for tier dropping, according to that bit that I saw online. Like, you can drop within the tiers of your rank, but you can't drop down ranks. Or, I'm not sure I'm saying that, like, in a way that makes sense. Yeah, because they call it tiers here. So it's like, diamond tier, I could drop from, like, 3 back down to 2 or down to 4. But I won't drop from diamond back down to gold. I think it's to make it so that way people don't feel like incentivized not to keep playing in the rink after they hit something, so that way they lose out on the rewards. Which is actually really nice of them if they set it up that way. Alright, on the open, we actually get to see Florian in our opening hand, so it's a little different. We'll try keeping it. Alright. Possible mono black matchup. The deck really likes giving us really does like giving us all these Lagamoses. We'll go for this, pass it back. But let's see, so red black for our opponent. Let's see, are they gonna go land play a Fable? I think though it's like for our turn. Do we want to go for black, red, green? So possible reanimator build. All right. Discard. Sulfur Springs. Land Lagamos. Take a point. We hit the Lily. So, unfortunately, though, this Lily is going to be a bit of an issue because they can uptick again. We still don't get a kill with the Lagamos that we have in play. Oh, but they're going to sacrifice it for us. Okay. The So opponent's going to have the enchantment in their deck that allows them to bring this back to the board. No surprise, another Lily. Let's see, Mana Valley, the exiled card. Okay. I think we give up the Meathook Massacre here. It's not going to be that useful against this opponent. Alright. Another copy of this to the board. kind of a funny line coming from Liliana, considering she's probably the most annoying walker there is to have to deal with. Alright, so... Ooh, Edgar. Edgar is amazing. Gonna hold the land here just to give us discard fodder for the Lily. Okay. Infernal Grasp. Perfectly fine. Alright. Opponent's gonna hit plus the Lily this time. For our turn, we go for the Florian. And we'll have the Vampire token here as a sacrifice fodder for if they try to use the minus. So they might use Harvester, kill the token, then use Lily for -2. Alright, we get Florian to the board. If the opponent manages to get the enchantment that allows them to reanimate, we'll lose the Florian just to the reanimation of their zombie. They could have targeted removal. If they don't have any targeted removal, and we get to keep Florian, it doesn't matter what happens in the board state. If they go for the plus, we discard touch. If they don't go for the plus, we play, we'll still play RatadraBox to the board. Opponent's taking it out. So they are going to go with the original plan I said. Use Harvester, downtick Lily. This is one of the reasons why I included Edgar in the deck, is it fights against Liliana really well. Alright, unfortunately, that fights against our Edgar really well. Alright, actually, Gorgoro seems like a great play here. Because we get to get rid of the Lily, and I'm going to send both just to make sure she dies. I didn't see any stop from our opponent for them interacting with us, but I was taking no chances of getting rid of that Lily. Alright, opponent's got the revival spell. Here comes Titan. Gets rid of Edgar's coffin. We have to use touch. Yeah, because here it is, Cruelty of Gix. It takes a little while to interact with this enchantment, because you have to... Oh, they're actually going to start with going for our hand first. That's very rude of the opponent. But it does mean Markov is going to actually transform back to being the 4/4. They can only take creatures from our hand with Cruelty of Gix here. Creatures are planeswalkers. We'll send the team... I intentionally don't give haste to the token here. The reason why I don't do that is if the opponent actually does have some kind of haste threat that I'm not expecting, I want to have it as a blocker. Thanks to Touch of the Spirit Realm's ability to be discarded, channel to exile one of our creatures until the next end step, we can protect our Edgar or our Gorogoro. So we'll see what the opponent does here. Because they're going to search their library for a card. It's going to cost them 3 life. I probably really should have paid the red, give this haste. Because that would have been at 11 life. No haste creature would have mattered. So yeah, that is a bit of a punt on my end. Because it could have had him down to 9 life. With him down to 9 life, that means... if they... Okay, another Cruelty of Gix. Opponent knows what's in our hand, so they don't start on 1. So they go for the revive. They start off going for Titan. Which is interesting, because I wasn't sure which one they would go with. Because they could have gotten themselves the Desecrator, which is a 4/4 creature, that they could exile one of our cards to destroy one of our things. And it meant that they could have destroyed Edgar, and then brought back the Titan to destroy Edgar off the rest of the way, potentially. But with how Spirit Realm work, I would have been able to still protect the Edgar. So the opponent could have been playing around that. We'll send the team. They block against Edgar, that's fine. We lose the Anthem effect, but we'll be able to just generate more little vampire tokens. So as long as the opponent doesn't like top deck land and play another Titan, we should be pretty okay here. Oh, nice to hear your new deck is working out for you there, Izzy. That's the white-green Super Friend Life Gain deck that were talking about earlier, right? Ooh. Talk about calling that close. Were you playing against somebody who actually milled you, or just did the game go on that long? Alright, so they decide to exile RatadraBox. And they're going to kill our Goro. There's no reason why they wouldn't. Alright, Fable for our opponent. That's kind of dangerous. What do we top deck? Another touch. I'm trying to think. With this touch, do I want to immediately use this? If they hit another Liliana, they could just plus. We lose the card. We could discard it, get rid of the 2/2 token. That's not a huge bonus. If they hit a Titan, they're just going to free their Titan, so they won't care about Desecrator. I think we still have to go touch. Get rid of the Desecrator. And we'll send in the little bit of damage that we can here, just to chip in. Because we get some life gain back. Let's see, so Izzy, you ended up ulting your Johnny, which does exile the board state of creatures and artifacts, if I remember correctly. Then ulted Ren and 7, and the opponent scooped. Oh. Because Ren and 7 ult is, you get all of your graveyard back to your hand. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So you ended up putting in Ren and 7, that's why you had so few cards left in your deck. Okay. Let's see, so we still have a couple turns before this transforms back. No blocks there. Send the squad. Hold the meat hook. Because next turn we get to transform on Edgar. We could send Edgar and the 3/2/2s, because the 1/1s will become 2/2s. And then we can just meat hook, get rid of reflections, and potentially kill the opponent, depending on how things go. I mean, they could always just drop a Titan here, and then we just sad times. While we can still meat hook away the 4/4 token if they generate it, we're gonna have to be forced to use it just because we need to get the reflections off the board. We can't let them both be on the board at the same time. Soul of Windgrace I was not expecting. Because it's a new card, so I'm still getting used to it. If you're not familiar with it, when it enters the battlefield, you can put a land from a graveyard back to the battlefield tapped on your control. You can always discard lands to get these functions. So you turn late game land draws still into useful things like drawing, gaining life, or giving this indestructible. Alright, let's see what happens here during our turn. They're gonna meat hook us. Oh, so rude, so rude. Alright, opponent. Well, let's go ahead and send the Edgar. Alright. And one good meat hook deserves another, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So, clear board state. We're both in top deck mode. Both of us have the meat hooks, so no one dies from meat hook likely, like the loss of a creature trigger. Harvester, that gives them redraw action. Gonna choose to hold the land here. That way, if we get another like instant speed spell, we're not hoping the opponent doesn't like top deck a Lily against us. We don't actually have that many creature spells in this, or I mean, non-creature spells in this deck. Most of our deck is creature, and somehow we managed to hit most of our non-creature interaction. Opponent, though, manages to hit another Windgrace, which is amazing for them. Alright, so this is what we do. We, oh, you gotta go, Queen? It's nice having you here. Take care. See you whenever you're able to swing in next time. Hope you are able to enjoy the content while you're here. Alright. Our combat, we attack with both. Make it look like we're offering him a trade, but we're actually going to discard Iganjo. Get rid of the Soul of Windgrace. I went ahead and attacked with both, just because otherwise it just gets, the token just gets chump blocked anyways. Alright, opponent still sticks with the block on Cathar, which it's the best option they had. If they blocked the token, they would have just taken a lot of damage, and things would just went bad for them. Alright, Rothman with their Jund Reanimator manages to top deck a Voltage Surge. Alright, we at least get the transform on Edgar here. Edgar putting in so much value for us. We'll send it. See, that's going to be 6 damage to our opponent. They go down to 2? Nope, they choose to chump block. Alright, they decide that they're going to go down to 2. Or not. Really indecisive here. It's kind of hard for them to maybe decide on this one. Won't lie, we got really lucky that the opponent didn't get another Cruelty of Gix to... Oh wait, no, actually, they don't really have anything that, you know, they can really reanimate here, but still, nonetheless. Cruelty of Gix, to be able to, if they had it earlier, they had the life originally to pay for the search your deck for any card. And if they had another Titan, we would be in a lot of trouble. And they could still top deck a Titan, blow up our enchantment, choose to gain the life, and then the Titan from this touch hits the battlefield again. They gain a lot more life and can generate like the 4/4 token.
So it's not in the realm of possibilities that it's like this will never happen. And no, they're eyeing it. Do they have it? Did they finally top deck it? They do. Oh no. Where's our RatadraBox? The worst part is they could actually go destroy that. Gain life. The other one, they could go destroy the other touch. Gain life. And then they can exile a card from our graveyard. Do we even have anything mana cost 4? Okay, we don't have anything mana cost 4. So if they do go for that, exile a card, they can only kill a 2/2 token. So, but they don't go for the life gain. They go for the 4/4 body. So they're trying to make sure they can set up a lethal strike here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So even if we draw a Meat Hook Massacre, we're short 1 mana to kill off the Titans here. Oh, that's right. They can exile from their own graveyard. And that does kill Edgar. It does give us more life linkers for our turn. Let's see, what did they exile? A Cruelty of Gix? That makes sense. A mirror box off the top. Alright, we'll play the land. We'll show them we got nothing. Are they able to swing a lethal strike here? Titans are 14. But it's... We could block a Desecrator with 2. Block the 4/4. So yeah, they actually do have lethal. If they swing all. If they swing all. They have to swing all. They're I guess, double-checking the numbers here. Make sure that they have lethal. Yep. We'll give them the GG. We'll just take it all. Because the math works that the Blood Tithe Harvester is going to offset the 3 life that we'll gain off of blocking all the 4s. So, being at 13, taking 14 damage, that's just the end there. Unfortunate. It's definitely an epic fight that we had there, but sadly, we just could not get more RatadraBox. We have 4 of these in our deck. Then again, we also only got down to 37 cards in our deck. Our opponent definitely wheeled through their deck a little bit more. The deck, I feel like we have some good power, but our problem is it's... If we don't get RatadraBox to the board, and, like, you know, we get swept, we don't have the ability to rebuild our hand. We lack card draw to keep going. Is this keepable? I like the fact that we have Meat Hooks with Lagomos, but I don't think this is keepable. Hey, there's our 1/0 Sheldrod. This is actually a worse hand, but I'm gonna try it. We'll go down the Meat Hook. We'll lead with this. Oh joy, it's mono blue. Oh joy, oh joy, oh joy. I like how I'm calling it mono blue off just seeing only 1 land, and oh look, it's a consider. I'm like 90% sure this is mono blue. The other 10% will probably be red blue spells. Alright, opponent, let's get the counter spells going. Yep, there's a negate. We just have to draw lands. And unfortunately, we missed land. I mean, this at least forces the opponent to use another counterspell. But if we had a mana of any color, all of our lands come to play untapped in this deck at this point, that we could play any of these cards. We don't have any lands that come and play tapped at this point. But opponents get 3 mana, handful of counterspells, and it's a feel bad. Like, this is unfortunately mono blue just being mono blue. It's got bounce, it's got counterspell, it's got draw, and we cannot hit our 4th land. Alright, they impulse. Now, do they impulse to find their creature that they want to win with, or do they impulse to find another counterspell? I can pay 1. So, I'm not sure if that was a mistake by the opponent. And I think that was a mistake. I don't think they meant to no! Why is it that I have mana problems against mono blue whenever we come across? Alright, there's the Jhin. It's big, it's in charge. And yeah, no, we'll give him the GGs. We don't have any way to attempt against this deck anymore. Cut down's a complete dead card, and we just got shorted mana. I don't even want to count that one. Alright. I was actually worried about that first hand just because it's, you know, the mana base was not great, and then we end up with a slightly more awkward one. Alright, this actually seems pretty good here. Thanks to Ghoul Caller with the Pilgrim, we have a lot of pressure. The problem with this is that these are the easiest cards to hit with removal spells. I think I might just need to trim, like, Meat Hook down to only 2 of. Because there's been a lot of games we draw this, and it's just kind of, like, clunkily in the way. We have it at 3. Might need to just try to find, like, some way to get some card draw. I'm just going to get this off the board. Alright. So from here, we can go for the Pilgrim. Or, you know what? Let's just go for a Mirror Box. Yeah, we'll get the box to the board. Opponent's going to counterspell this for 2. Hello, opponent. Would you like to use your counterspell? Alright, they let it resolve. We send the token. But we really need to draw a land. Oh man, I think it's crazy how many times I just get stuck on 3 lands with a 24 land deck. I either get... Alright, there we go. We hit the Haunted Ridge. I either get stuck on 3 lands, or I just draw, like, such a ridiculous amount. Let's go for our Pilgrim first. Alright, no interaction on that. So they have spot removal is what that means. They don't have counterspell magic. Alright. So they use Infernal Grasp on Ghoul Caller, leave our Pilgrim alone. Alright, Liliana for our opponent.
And we'll X0 this, because the opponent's just gonna plus Liliana anyways. This way, it's like if they want to plus the Liliana, they have to take a discard just to their own hand. Unfortunately, with our mana base that we haven't played, there is still, unfortunately, 2 different cards that we could draw that we can't play. One of them's Adeline. The other one is our White-Black Angel, because I think that has a double white on it. We just drew too many black sources that are dedicated black. Alright, well, we attempt to kill Lily. Alright, we get it. Oh, there's something you don't see every day. Volcanar the Tainted. So, if the opponent... Oh, this is great. We don't have to worry about counterspell with the amount of mana they have open. So, at the end of at their end step, they have to do one of these effects, and they can't repeat one. So, after it comes to our side of the board, we then start being able to take advantage of them as well. They go for an Infernal Grasp. It does give us this back as the artifact. We'll start being able to generate tokens. So, one thing that people have been doing, actually, is they've been playing this with the, I think it's called the Argosy, the new vehicle that allows you to exile any creature that crews it. So that way you could reset it. Alright. What do we do with this board state, though, unfortunately, is an issue. We'll draw lands. Yep, there we go. So we start off stumbling on our lands, so that way we couldn't get any presence to this board, and then we just draw nothing but the lands. Now, that actually would have been a mistake from our opponent. They could have given us a card we could have played here. But I'm just going to scoop, because I don't want to wait for all their little interactions. Alright. Probably gonna have to make this one of our last games here. Deck hasn't been playing quite right. And I think that's partially because we don't have card draw. And one of my first go-tos on red draw is a card that doesn't work in this deck. The Fable of Kiki Jiki. Because Mirror Breaker, unfortunately, doesn't work for us. We'll keep this. We're against mono red, or possibly black red. I've seen Phoenix Chick used in Sacrifice style decks. Oh, there we go, black red. Let's go ahead and get the Pilgrim to the board. Okay. No blocks. Gonna risk taking the hit here, because I want to keep this if we can. Go for Florian. Florian offers us a nice first strike defender. Now, if you're wondering what that weird trigger was, if you're not familiar with Florian, if we deal damage to our opponent before we go to combat, after combat, depending on how much life the opponent has lost, we'll be able to exile cards from the top of our deck and be able to play one of them. Now, what we get to do is we get to look X cards deep, pick one, and we may play that until end of turn. And actually, we must pick a card. So if we can't use the card,
it just gets lost. Kumano, there's actually a little bit of an issue to us. We'll go for RatadraBox. The reason why this is an issue is because if our creatures take lethal, they go to exile. So, but it has to be specifically from damage. The reason why that's an issue is that it will prevent our RatadraBox from providing us triggers and... Okay, so opponent's going to use that for the discard draw. For a second, I was like, opponent, you're not going to use that for the first phase, right? This is actually a card that I'm not sure how much play it's going to see, because it actually is really solid. Because you can choose to go for the sweep, or you can just go for the card draw, or you can go for the 4/4 flyer. You don't have to choose a phase unless you want to. Let's see here. Let's actually go outline. Let's attack with the Pilgrim here. Gives us a little life gain. If they choose to block the Pilgrim, we end up still getting value. Grab the Gorogoro, since we can play this for the 2. And we actually have a decent board set up. The only problem is we have to deal with that 4/4 flyer. Why are you running Sheoldred? Oh man, I think we're in trouble now. Yep. Because even though I can go Mirror Box here, this is just an issue. And let's see here. We attack with these, we still have these for defending with, which isn't going to be enough. No, wait, well, they potentially trade against Cathar. So I send the things that actually can kill Sheoldred, but hold back the main defending force. Let's see. The opponent's attacking for 4, 5, 6, 7 damage in the air. We could survive at 1. When they gave up the card, I was actually worried about being on the board, which is great. We can't play any of these, so we'll just let the land go to waste. Opponent's going in with everything. Block here. Block. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me change this up here a little bit. Blocks like so. That's game. I don't know why the opponent decided to dedicate an all attack there, but I guess it was a they win it here or they lose. Because if they actually held back all their creatures except for the ones that can't block and poked us for 3 in the air, we would have sent the whole team because we would have been forced to at that point. And because they gave up the etchings of Kumano here, I wasn't afraid of losing my death triggers to reanimate my cards. But there we go, we took down this black-red deck. It actually was a pretty cool deck idea that they were running. It's just lots of strong black-red cards that actually do look like they synergize pretty well. Alright. You know, after that game, I do feel like we actually have a good deck. It feels like it's missing something, and I'm trying to play these games now to figure out what it is that we're missing and what cards I might need to switch out to get that value that I'm looking for. I mean, we might just want to use like more Florians, or however you pronounce his name. Yeah, Florian. Because if we use more Florian, we can get more card draw, pseudo card draw. That I feel like is what we're mainly missing. Alright. In which case, let's go ahead and go with the game. We will keep this one. It's a little greedy, only having 2 lands. Considering we've also been having a fair bit of land trouble tonight. But we have a hand that just only really needs to draw 1 more land to keep playing spells. But we definitely need at least 2 more for the whole purpose of our deck. Alright. Cut down from our opponent. Someone's a My Little Pony fan. And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and give him the GGs. I'm just gonna scoop here. It's mono black. We missed our land drops. We lose. I don't want to just take forever trying to play a game that's gonna just end out as a loss. Just hoping to draw that land. Because at that point, it was a... I'm fairly certain our opponent has the ability to keep playing. I know, it's a little pessimistic, but... Alright. Ooh, we gotta finally see a hand with, like, multiple heroes here. Let's start off with the black source. It allows us to go now Plaza of Heroes. We can play Jadar. Next turn, we can go for the Florian. Is it better for us to go Florian or go Lagamos? Because they're white-blue spells. Let's go for Lagamos. Alright, looks like I'm going to bounce it back to our hand. They're probably also just reading it because they haven't, like, seen it. So they're not sure what to do with it. Like, what is this card? I haven't actually seen this in the standard play queue much, but I do think it's actually a really cool card. Alright. Another counter to our opponent's Storm Chaser Drake. Go for the land. We'll attempt to put this back to the board. We attack with the tokens. Get another 2 points of damage through. Try and see if I can catch my opponent tapped out. And we can use the discard on Touch the Spirit Realm here. And we can reset the Drake. The reason why I'm waiting for them to be potentially tapped out is because they use a whole lot of cards like Shore Up and similar effects to protect it. Alright, there's the Illuminator Virtuoso. That's actually going to be an issue. Let's see, they only have 1 blue mana open. We could just go Meat Hook X1. Let's see here. Issue is I don't have a 3rd black source, so I can't, like, go with the idea. Okay, I can X1. But I really want to X2 it, go X3, full on, just in case they have the target spell for Virtuoso to support it. Let's first go to combat. Send the board. Okay. Let's see. If we pass the turn, we can use Infernal Grasp and Touch the Spirit Realm to protect ourselves. Let's go ahead and actually use Spirit Realm here. Offer a target here. We're just going to grasp this off the board. Now, if the opponent gets a security bypass, they kill us with the Virtuoso. Well, if I didn't kill that in the air, we were dead anyways. Yeah, and there's the security bypass, there's the GG's. So that meant that, yeah, they had the answer for the meat hook. I wasn't going to be able to get it through. But, yeah, that's the way it goes against this deck. It's one of those things. There's so much protection. March of Swirling Mist, they could Fading Hope, they can Shore Up. There are so many strong spells to protect your cards right now. Slip out the back. It's so hard to deal with this slippery deck design that they have. And I actually think this actually got more dangerous after rotation. Even though they lost a couple of the cards that do support it, like Jawari's Disruption. But ultimately, I think this deck actually got better. Alright, I'm going to take a look at our deck here. Because it's definitely not performing like we would have liked. I'm trying to think like, oh, okay, you know what? First off, we can cut this. That was just me playing with a card idea. Because it'd actually just be better to fight Sheoldred with Sheoldred. Take this out. Most of our cards are actually not that expensive. We're a lot of 3-drops, a lot of 2-drops. Now, granted, these are really about like a 4-drop. But we had a lot of trouble tonight drawing the 4th mana. And we are running 24 lands, so just the odds of draw, unfortunately, just were not in our favor tonight. Did have a lot of problem, though. It's like with opponents getting ahead of us draw value-wise. I think Crimson Bride probably just needs to come out. I thought it was a cool card idea. Because if Crimson Bride were to die while we had a RatadraBox on board, unless we had another Vampire Legend on board, we'd still lose the RatadraBox if we like reanimated with it. But we'd still get the 2/2 variant of the Bride reanimated back. And I thought that was a cool combo. But to be honest, this would actually be stronger in the deck. Just because it's got that big lifelink body. Gives us all of our cards back to our hand if they die. So it gives us extra protection like Urborg here. I think, well, it's great drawing this. Maybe only 2 copies. Go down to only 2 mirror boxes. Because we're mostly at a 2-elf for most of our cards. The only 4-elf is Urborg here. And let's see, what do we have in the colors to just draw cards? to help us out. We could just go with some simple Spirited Companions, but that doesn't really help us too much with our plan. I guess we could go for Revelry, because opponents tend to go wider than us earlier. It does play with the Pilgrim well. Potential card draw. Potential life gain. I'm gonna add one for right now while we think about it. Rumor Gatherer actually would work decently, but the double white, I don't like it, considering we can't use Plaza of Hero to tap for mana for it. So there's potential issues of playing that. Because Rumor Gatherer plus the Jadar plus the Lagamos meant that we could actually hit the draw off of it, not too difficult. Maybe Welcoming Vampire. Welcoming Vampire actually would give us a lot of potential draw triggers. It's not a legendary, of course, but almost all of our creatures' base power early game is 2. And don't you have to bring a creature to the board to get draw off Lagamos or off Jadar. So it's not bad. I'm trying to think though, maybe we just cut Goro down to a 1-of. It's kind of strange how, though, the color of that I'm looking at for card drawing is white, considering in the historical sense, white has never had card draw. Mono white usually was terrible at card draw, and in the standard format, white actually does decent with card drawing. Alright. Let's see here. What other options do we have? I do realize that we have Halo Fountain as a potential card we could play, but I don't recommend that. I mean, I guess we could always Dockside Chef, gives us a 1-drop for the deck. Would always end up sacrificing this for card draw. Same with the Lagamos token. The only problem is this costs mana, this one doesn't. This is a flying body, but costs 3 mana. 1/2 body. If chat has any recommendations, love to hear it, because I'm definitely not sure what's the right answer here. The gain life equal to sacrifice permanent mana value. We could go for Reckoner's Bargain. 2 mana, sacrifice a creature or artifact. We gain life equal to its mana value, and when we're going to draw 2 cards. It does mean sacrificing the tokens without getting life. But there have been times where I was going with the idea it wouldn't hurt to sacrifice one of these creatures to get the Urborg's effect. That's true. We always have the Morbid Opportunist as well. It works kind of like Welcoming Vampire. At this point, I just realized I'm starting getting more into a draw value style deck of all these death triggers.
I'll have to maybe try that as a different deck idea. How's Sticky Fingers work again? Whenever enchant creature deals coming into a player, you get a treasure. And then when it dies, you draw a card. Okay, that's not quite what we're looking for. There's still always the possibility of just using Fable and Mirrorbreaker because, you know, it gives you that 2/2 token, and it gives you that draw ability. Well, I think I like the idea of only splashing red here. Actually, we cut out a lot of the red. We could actually probably just go straight white-black on this. Which is a shame because I love the idea of Lagomos in the deck. Okay, let's take out the Florian. Let's keep the Lagomos in. Keep it at 3. Is there anything else that we can maybe do to this? I think this gives us... Let's see, we have a total of 6 cards to interact with our opponent's cards. For direct control, we have 2 Meat Hook Massacres. And everything else is creature, with the exception of Revelry, which might generate as creatures. And then there's the 2 Mirror Boxes. I think that's not bad. Let's see, how many... Yeah, we're running 24 creatures. You'd never know that we ran so many creatures with how we draw them in the matches, but yeah, we have a lot of creatures. Let's maybe go up 3 Welcoming Vampires. We'll keep Shouldered at 1 of. And we'll try it like that. Alright. We'll give this new test 3 games. See how if it runs better or not. Okay. Well, off the start, we already see one of the new cards that we did for an adjustment in the hand. And we'll try keeping it. Oh, put it moles. Means that we're not going to get the card draw off this likely. They mold twice. Aggressive moling. Alright. Start with the land. Oh no. Not more mono blue. Alright, well. Apparently. That was enough. I'm gonna not count that one. The opponent literally milled twice, played land, scooped. Let's get 3 real games in here. Hopefully we can actually see some interaction from these new cards, as well as just some of the old cards. We didn't get to see some of them ever really drawn. Alright, this is too awkward of a hand, because we don't actually have a dedicated white source. All we have is Plaza of Heroes, and we end up drawing the cards that require the white. I will keep this. I'm going to put Meat Hook on the bottom. Still lead with the Haunted Ridge, just because there's more cards in our deck that can make use of the the black mana early than the white. Alright, let's go for the Hand of Hatred here. We don't attack with the Pilgrim because we get more value off of it just sitting back here. I don't really want to trade into an underdog because it means that they could just go land, play Lily, and we'd lose the hand here. Alright, Trespasser for our opponent. We'll go X0. Still send it. Get the double drain against the opponent. Now, I'm pretty sure the Pilgrim's seen the end of its days here, because they're getting annoyed by that. Alright, Shieldred for our opponent. We actually would have probably played that if we'd hit our 4th land. Oh, look, there's our 4th land. Let's get Shieldred off the board. Send the attack squad. And we're staying actually ahead of the opponent here. Alright, Invoke Despair. We'll give up Lagomos. We'll give up the Meathook Massacre. No, you cannot have your Shieldred back. Interesting choice on what they kept back. We'll go for Shieldred. Opponent's turn. So, let's see here. We have the opponent down to 4. They're more than likely have some kind of removal spell for the Shieldred here, right? If they have Meathook Massacre, it's best for us not to block with Shieldred. If they have... Oh, let's see. If they have an Invoke Despair, we have to block. So we block Trespasser. Yeah, so if we didn't block, we just died. But, yeah, no, that's going to be a good game situation right there. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we got done in because double Invoke Despair. It's one of those things. If you get an Invoke Despair, it tends to lead to a second one because you get that draw off after all that drain. But the thing is, we actually only gave him 1 card draw because we sacrificed the Meathook. So, I don't know what we could have done better. Opponent just had us outdrawn. Alright. Oh, no, I know what I could have done. I was playing around Meathook, and I should have played around the other card better. Yeah, so I know what I did wrong. Alright. On the open here, just can't find, like, there we go, three lands, but I had the mull to get to this. It's like I can't find a decent 3-land hand to start off a match. Alright, we'll go for the Black Source. Bankbuster for our opponent. We'll go Plaza of Heroes to Arjadar. Get hit by an Infernal Grasp. Go for the Gargoyle. And get in for 2. Unfortunately, Sorry about that.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, we don't have a red source for the Gorogoro to give haste, but things turned out okay. Hello, Lily. Land pass. Blood's gonna uptick Lily. I'm trying to think, do I get rid of the Revelry or the Massacre here? Soul transfer, that means we get rid of the Massacre. Alright, another Charm Grim to the board. They hit me with another Exile spell. I'm gonna be so annoyed. Because that's double Lily, double Exile. That would be very hard to handle in most cases. Yeah, this Revelry, unfortunately, hasn't been very good against this opponent here. I'm trying to think, like, what's more important to get off the board. I think I just... Okay. I'll take it. Let's go for this to the board. And we'll pass. Alright, well, we sacrifice the token. Nice thing with Edgar and the Pilgrim, we'll be able to give ourselves a bit of sustain. Alright, I'm just going to hold the land here. Discard fodder against the opponent. Because who knows, they might hit Lily number 3 here. Or they could always reanimate Lily. Alright, Trespasser for our opponent. Are there any creatures in the graveyard? Just, yeah. We actually had 3 of them. I do think it's amazing how often I see opponents, they plus on Sorin and they just reveal lands. And whenever I'm like, Sorin, it's always like, gotta pay that life. Oh well. I'm not salty at all. Alright, let's go ahead and swing on over into Sorin. And... try to think, do I send everything? If I send everything, I can get 2 damage through. I would lose the Pilgrim. Pilgrim trades with something. If jump Edgar, 2 damage from the token. We still couldn't play the Revelry for extra value, so we'll just only send this. Let's go ahead and play this, get ourselves the life, draw a card. Could have done that first. Because I could have cut down the token. Because then it would have forced them to block with Trespasser, which would be something that they wouldn't want to give up. Alright, Despair makes us lose some life. They draw some cards. But we only lose a token here, so not a big loss. But actually took quite the loss of life, though, to do that. Not sure if they really wanted to take the plus with Sorin for that. Alright, let's go ahead and go for our RatadraBox. It has Ward 2, so I don't have to worry about them targeting and removing it from the board after it resolves immediately. But what this means is that I can actually attack with both of these at Sorin. Alright, so they kill the Sorin in response. I mean, not Sorin, but the Edgar in response. What this does mean, though, is prevents us from getting the mini Edgar to also still be a bonus to our board. Let's go ahead and attack it. I don't think they block the Pilgrim here. Or they do? Alright. Put a new Pilgrim to the board? So if the opponent actually hits us with a meat hook here, we still get a Pilgrim to the board. And instead of gaining life, the opponent actually net loses life. Yeah, they almost killed themselves there for a moment. So cut that down, we get a kill Sorin. Well, I take that back. We get to attempt an attack at Sorin. Actually, we do get to kill it. We're going to use the heroes to protect our creature if they try to respawn. Okay, they draw a card. We get rid of Sorin. Land the board. Oh, that's right. I can't protect it with Plaza. It's no longer legendary. Alright, we hit another RatadraBox. We're actually mana short from being able to play and protect it. I'm still going to put it to the board. The reason is, it's if they hit a Lily, they just +1, we discard. And they could also be running cards like Pilfer and stuff. Because I see that they have Junji in their deck, which means that it's not impossible for them to have other discard options. Okay, so they add the Junji back to hand. Okay. So in order for us to get an Edgar large enough to deal with Junji on an attempt an attack in, we would need the mirror box. Alright, let's go and put the hand to the... No, I'm going to pay the 1 life. Hand of Logamos.
Or Logos Hand of Hatred. This actually gives us enough attackers that we can kill Soren. If they kill Edgar, I'm fine with that. Because we'll still get the mini Edgar that comes out, and we'll get the coffin again. Now imagine that they still block and kill some of our tokens. Oh, wait, do we actually come up short because of that? I forgot to count in the 1-1. So they actually do get to keep Soren. Well, that's fine. Just me coping here. Alright, we gain some life. We get the... We get Mini Edgar. Oh! So many creatures died. Ah, man. Next time that happens, we could potentially use Hand of Hatred. Now, I couldn't use it this time because it didn't have, it was affected by Summoning Sickness. But it's like, I just realized, like, oh, we might be able to actually get to use it for the tutor. Oh, never mind. It's gonna, well, cut down. They're gonna use cut down on Mini Edgar. Because if they do it to the Hand of Hatred, we just get a copy of Hand of Hatred. Invoke, sacrifice here. We do lose our life-linking token. It's a bit of a shame. Yeah, as I said, they're going to go for the kill there. Now, I'm saving my mana to protect RatadraBox, specifically. Alright, they're gonna come in with everything. How much damage is that? Do I care? 5, 6, 7 in the air. I do care. That is a little too much damage. Alright, we offer the blocks here. Are we gonna keep Mini Edgar, or are we gonna keep Mini Hand of Hatred here? Alright, a cut down. So we don't get to keep either of them. That's a bit of a blowout. I'm so getting tired of the fact that Soren's just giving so much draw value. This is the only time I've actually come across where a Field of Ruin actually matters in a match. I actually question online, is there a reason why you run Field of Ruin in your deck in the current standard format? I couldn't think of any reason. And we're playing one of the few decks that actually does have a reason. Alright, well, we're out of here. I'm not going to wait for their turn because they have 7 in the air. I feel like I got robbed. Alright, last game of the deck. Please, something other than mono black. I'd like to see a little deck creativity here. That mono blue. Mono blue can also go sawed off. I just don't want to deal with counterspell.deck. I mean, the fact that we see so much mono black, I understand people are trying to use it to climb the ladder because they want to get to Mythic. But I'd like to. I think I just need to get to Mythic and then just be able to see the people who are just screwing around with real deck ideas. Alright, unfortunately.
Gonna have to hit mulligan here. Alright, never mind. I'm gonna go ahead and just call it for the night. The number of times we have been screwed on our opening hands of only 2 mana is ridiculous. Actually, no, I take it back. We're gonna give one more game. One more game. Gonna calm it down. We can do this. Oh man. Yeah, I won't lie. I'm getting a little tilted by the shuffler here because of I've had to mulligan about 40% of our games. No, more than that. We've had to mulligan so many times just because it likes giving us 2 landers, opposite colored cards in hand to the lands. Oh well. That's why Plaza of Hero is so great, because it, helps mana fix for this. Problem is it doesn't mana fix for this. Alright, well, we'll keep it. Let's lead with the Ridge, just to make sure we can hit the mana colors. Against mono blue. I said I wanted to try to play against something other than mono blue for one of our last games with the deck. Just because I'm so tired of counterspell.deck. Counterspell. Oh, okay, I guess we gotta keep the creature. It's gonna get bounced to our hand. Yep. Friendly to free to play. It takes a bit of grinding to get into it, but I've played a majority of this free to play. I put a little bit of money into the game because I wanted to help support the platform. And when I mean a little bit of money, I spent like $20 on it. And that's about all I've really spent into the game. Now, if you're really looking to go super free to play on it, I recommend learning how to draft. So, if you can draft, it allows you... Yeah, no, $20 isn't that bad. And that's why I was like, I want this. It's kind of like the idea. It's like buying a skin for a game just because I want to support the developers because I felt they made a good free to play game. Yeah, I played a few drafts in high school. Had a blast. The reason why drafting is so important for this game to play free to play is because in order for you to get the cards, you either have to do the dailies, which will just take a while of grinding still, and you're capped at a certain amount of gold that you can get. If you can successfully do the dailies, you always want to try to do them whenever you can. But if you can draft, it costs a certain amount of gold or gems. Gems is the purchased economy. But the thing is, you get rewarded with gems on the draft, and as long as you can win 5 games, you always net positive on your gems and can buy back in again. That's why it's that's why I say it's an important thing to learn how to do. Let's go for this. Try to see if I can just eat another counterspell from their hand, so that way I can attempt to touch the Spirit Realms to get rid of the Haughty Dijin. Okay, that's actually what I want out of their hand. Got another one? Alright, cool. We got the counterspells out of their hand. Yeah, no, that's why I say... Oh, no, we just lose right now, because Thirst for Discovery... They discard 2 spells, and they just kill us in the air. Oh, man.
I'm so tired of playing against mono blue, mono black. Mono blue because it's counterspell.deck. Mono black just because it's the gameplay right now for standard format is about 70% mono black, 20% mono blue, and then 10% of people actually trying to craft something interesting. Oh well. But yeah, no. Uro Sunda. First time actually pronouncing your name. By the way, thank you for speaking up in chat and joining us. Appreciate you showing up here. The thing is, I've been playing this game for a while on Arena, and so I've built myself up just mostly off the grind, and a lot of my grind is the dailies. So off the dailies, you'll get random off the 15 here. You'll get this requires you to win games, but you'll get yourself either gold or random cards. And the gold always starts off at a certain increment and slowly degrades as you go through the process here. And about every other win on this is a just random card. And the random card can be any common, uncommon, rare, or mythic card. So it's truly random. Then you have the weekly bonus here. I'm sorry, this is the daily just play bonus, I think, right? No, this is the weekly bonus. And this one will give you the experience, which will be good for if you... because you also get daily quests where it's like, play 50 blue cards, play 50 lands, attack with 30 creatures. And as long as you do that within the time period of the 3 days, you'll be able to get the gold. And it might sound like a large number, but to be honest, when it comes to playing a certain card color, like playing it like 30 times or whatever, just you can usually accomplish that if you like play a mono color deck within like 2 games, unless it's quick games, in which case 4 to 5, because sometimes people scoop quick. But as you can see, I've been playing and crafting all types of decks. If you do get into the game, it's going to have you first learn the tutorial. After you complete the tutorial, you complete the challenge deck requirements, and it'll unlock cards for you.